All right. We're hooked up to Facebook. Just waiting on YouTube. All right, there's YouTube. One second. We'll get there. All right, welcome everybody. We're gonna have a pretty cool show, a little bit different than we've had before. Let me see here. Let's see. Right back. Everybody, we've got a special show. This is going to be a little bit different. We're going to get into some astrology with Sally. She's not been on before, and we're looking forward to getting to know her. Just pull her up on the screen. There we go. I can't hear you yet, Sally, but you're coming. There you go. So just turn on your video. You should have a little note coming your way. I'm not sure what's going on with the camera. And unmute. You have to unmute.
Yeah.
There you go.
You can hear me.
I can hear you. You're a little bit faint. You're a little bit faint.
How's this?
A little bit better. I'm not sure where your mic is. Is your mic on your computer?
Yes, it's built into my laptop.
Let's see. If you look at the bottom left of the screen, there's a microphone icon. You see it?
Yeah.
You can test your speaker and microphone there. You see the if you click that drop down, you see that?
Yes, I hear the ringtone.
Okay. Then test your mic. It'll ask you to speak.
Hello, hello.
Okay. That sounds all right. Good for you?
Yeah. As long as you can hear me.
Oh, I can hear you fine.
Beautiful.
I'm just going to pull up the little diagram. Here it is. Already have it pulled up.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's what I'm going to be looking at your birth chart on the big screen. So I won't be looking at this or you. I'm just going to make it smaller and go into my woo-woo zone here and see what we can pull up.
Okay, well, let's first do this. First of all, how do you pronounce your last name?
Melong.
Melong. Okay. I didn't know if it was French or something like that. So Sally Melong, beloved sister, sharing space with us today, and you're going to take us through an astrology chart. Is it a natal chart? Is that what it is?
Yes, a natal chart is just another word for birth chart. So, in other words, it's yours, and it's the blueprint of your life that you decided to come in with. And this is
Wow.
what you drew to set you up with your group of people, your soul group, your guides on the other side who helped you plan this for a long time. So it's pretty interesting, you know. Everybody's got a different one, and everyone is unique. Just like the rarest gem in the world, right?
Right. So we choose our birth chart? Do we choose our blueprint, or is it random?
Ideally, yes, ideally. You want to get to a level with your soul where you have that choice.
Hmm.
If there are some people that really don't get a choice. If they sort of cancel out on their contract again and again and again and again, then they're thrown back here with to do it again, sort of maybe even with a worse situation, the same people. But I don't want to, cast shade on something like that because I tell you, I've done a lot of charts and there's a thing called the North Node, and it's what you want to follow in your life. And it's there in your blueprint, in your chart. And almost every reading I've ever done, and it doesn't matter whether someone believes in astrology or knows anything about it or not, every single one of them instinctively is following their North Node or their life's purpose, the path that would help them elevate their soul in this life so that they come out gaining.
Yeah.
And I that just freaks me out because they don't know about it. They'll go, oh well, your North Node is here. You would make an excellent teacher. Well,
Hmm.
yes, I was a teacher for it's like yes.
So
So
so how
you're
long
doing what you should be doing.
so how long have you been doing this?
Oh gosh, on and off for 40 years. It's just
And
one of the things that I started out being interested in, reading books about them, and doing it the old school way, right? I mean, we look at a chart by somebody's birth date. I was born in the middle of the 1960s. So that tells you where the world was at that point when I chose to come in. And it wasn't that easy to study astrology in that time because we didn't have this fabulous machine that we have here where all of this information is so accessible and at your fingertips in seconds. No, we had to get to a library and pray that there was a book there that would answer maybe one of your questions. One piece of that puzzle just and you'd get so excited if you could find it. Then you'd have to read the whole book, and you'd go, oh, yeah, just tell me anything. It must have been the wrong book. So you go to a city library and you get them to order it in from New York because they don't have that book. The whole esoteric knowledge and everything involved with it, whether it's tarot, history, astrology, whatever, palm reading, you had to read a lot of books and even the ephemeris to figure out how to put your chart together, anyone's
Hmm.
chart. It was like this big with tiny little lines and letters, and you needed your magnifying glass to line it all up, and then you go, oh, that planet is there at such and such degree. So old school discipline to learn something like this. And I don't think that you just pick it up on a whim. I truly believe it's done in prior lives. It's a
yeah,
calling like
like a
anything else,
continuation,
right?
like a
Yeah,
continuation. Yeah.
sure.
So let's pull it up and see, because I've had people do natal charts or birth charts and other charts, and then I'm looking at it like what you drew up, what we're going to
Right.
put up on the screen, and I'm looking at it, and they're talking North Node and what is it, ascending sign and this, and I don't understand any of it. So this is going to be cool because I know there's got to be some people out there like me that don't understand it at all. And I know that there is some rhyme to the reason in this astrology. There's no doubt about it. You know, there's something to it. And I like your explanation coming in the door saying that we chose this particular, and that really resonates with me. You know.
Oh, well, it brings a lot of comfort to people, especially if it is a chart where I pull it up and I don't know this person. I don't know anything about their life, but I go into my zone and I focus on it and I hold that focus and it starts to talk to me like it's a different language. It is a language. And some of the things that you see are heartbreaking. It's like, how am I going to bring this up with this individual? How am I going to say, oh my God, there's so much tragedy when it comes to children or accidents or whatever? And you think that it will really, really shatter them, and you try and go about it gently. But you know what? When I explain to them that your parents chose this, your children chose this, because look, they're written in your blueprint. You chose it. They're all just sort of playing a role for a little while for your soul growth and theirs. It's comforting to them to know that, hey, you know, this just wasn't just some horrible thing that happened. There is a beauty and a purpose to everything, and God is a hell of a mathematician because it's all angles,
Yeah.
all degrees, and yeah.
So do you want me to put it up on the screen, or are you going to put it on the screen?
I'm going to have it up on my own screen, but I'd like you to be able to look at it and follow along, and I'll give you like the house numbers so that you can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let me pull up what you gave me, and that way everybody can see what we're looking at. Hang on. Here we go. All right. Can you see that?
Yeah. Now I want to figure out how to get rid of that screen just to make it small so I can get into my other screen.
Okay.
Hang on a second. I think it's up here. Yeah, it's a little bit fuzzy, but you should be able to see it a lot better than the viewer, right? Okay, hang on a second.
I think everybody can see it. I can see it here. You've got over here on the left, Sun, Moon, Mercury, all the planets, True Node, Chiron, which I don't even know what Chiron is. I'd like an explanation on that as we go through this.
Yeah, okay. Can you take that off for a second?
Yes.
Go back to where you were so that I can make this screen smaller and go into mine, okay? Yeah, I'm going to have a different one up here that I can see a lot clearer. Okay, now you can, I think you can load whatever you like.
All right, here we go. How's that?
Beautiful. Okay, now we're both looking at the same thing, but mine is much bigger because my eyes are terrible. So as soon as I pull up a chart like this, and really I haven't looked at it that much before we talk today, and I really don't know anything about your life, and that is intentional because I like to go into these things cold. But if you look at it, if you could sort of unfocus your eyes and imagine that you're looking at what I'm looking at, which is between the third and the fifth house, you've got this thing scooting across that looks like the bottom of a schooner. And it's got sails that go right up to the 12th house. So for me, yeah, being an artist, I always
wait a minute. Let me get my bearings. So I see this is one. Okay, they can see this arrow.
Okay,
so this
look at the red lines going up there.
Yeah,
can you see the red lines?
Yeah, I can see the one. I can see. Yeah. So you said, so this is the one, this is two.
Yeah,
three.
Those are the houses. Those are the houses.
So this is so the one you're talking about is in the fourth house, this one here.
Okay, from the third to the fifth, it's a blue line at the bottom.
I see it, yes.
That goes across?
Right here.
All right, that's the bottom of the boat, okay?
Okay.
And then everything else is the sales. Can you see that, Todd?
Yes, I can see it. Yeah, I'm putting the cursor over so they can see it too. So it's this blue line from the third to the fifth house. It's got some vertical lines, blue and red, that are intersecting it. And then there's another red line that kind of intersects it in the fifth house and creates an arrow, like you said, the bottom of the boat. Okay, so
Yes.
what does that mean? And why are you starting with that? Is that
Okay,
the
I'll tell you
Okay.
why. Because that's sort of like seeing the forest and then getting into the tree. So
Okay.
the forest is actually comes across as pictures to me. If I see a big pyramid in a picture in one of these charts, I know that I knew this person in the last life. This is an Egyptian thing, right? Anyway, that's a personal thing, neither here nor there. But when I saw this and I pulled it up, I went, I see a schooner that's dying to go forward, and the winds are holding those sails back from it just flying off way into the infinity. Can you see how it's almost like the nose of it just wants to go up? Like you want to go fast, you want to fly. You really don't want to be tethered. However, life said, this is what we're going to do to tether you, Todd. We're going to create some winds that are going to hold this red sail back.
Oh, I see. Right here.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
so the blue lines are helpful influences that are going to be easy peasy and going to help you. And they're beautifully aspected. The red lines are the built-in challenges that you chose to give you a soul advantage over your last life. So what is it that you have to learn in this life to do that? So I see that your north node, and that's the little horseshoe up there that you'll find in the 11th house.
Okay, hang on. Right here. This is the north node. Right there. Yes, I got it.
It looks like a little horseshoe there. Yeah. Okay, so it's at 19 degrees, and it's in the 11th house, and it's ruled by Leo because your ascendant came in with Virgo, and the last degrees of Virgo, the 28 degrees, and that means something. So whatever your ascendant is, and you're going to find that on the line between 1 and 12 there, AC, 28 degrees, your ascendant, the
Right here.
time, the moment that you came into this world, that was the planetary alignment that was up in the heavens on the horizon as you were born. So this line in the middle here is the horizon of Earth, basically. So it tells us which one of these planets are going to sit in each house. Now, every one of these houses has a different meaning, and every one of these signs that go around it have a different meaning, and they all have original rulers, and we're going to get into that. So Leo is the energy that rules your 11th house, and that is your north node. That is what you are supposed to be focusing on in this life. Leo energy is ruled by the sun. So it's very dramatic. It likes to take the center stage. It likes to shine, and it does it well. You can usually tell someone who has strong Leo in their chart, and you probably never even considered it because it's not your moon sign, it's not your ascendant, and it's not your sun sign, right? Those three people associate with being their sign, but we are every planet. And your north node is very, very important. It's your life purpose. So if you look at you, Todd, just think about it for a second. You look like a lion. You're Maine, it's just like you come across with this drama. And the 11th house has to do with other people. Okay? So it's a very idealistic sign. Altruism, friends, social groups, clubs, hopes and wishes. Right?
Right on.
And that is what you are doing. You have to be working with a lot of other people in order to follow your North Node
So
or
the
your.
so the so that for me, the North Node, it's Leo, and Leo is under the sun, and so there's a lot of center stage, dramatics, and working with a lot of people. And this is my primary focus. Is that
Well,
right?
it's pretty huge. And Leo is also um, the heart. It's the heart, right? That's what it represents in the body. So you have a very courageous heart. You have to the courage of a lion's heart to do what you do and to enjoy it with the flamboyant way that you do it, and that's why you were so successful. Also, there's the original ruler of the 11th house. So the original ruler of the 11th would be Aquarius, and then, it sits there naturally, and then there's Uranus that rules that. So there's the sign, and then there's the original ruler behind the sign. So Uranus is sudden change. You have to be on top quickly and ready for anything to happen, and I can see that you're doing that really well. Okay, so that takes us around to your South Node, which would be what you don't want to follow, because that's what you did in a past life, and it would be the opposite side of the chart. You're not going to see it there, but it's the fifth house, so it's the opposite of the 11th, right?
Over here, yeah.
Yes. So that is the house of creativity and children. It is recreation, hobby, sports, self-expression. So if you think about it, you probably did that in another life, and you would tend to be drawn to that house to if you were taking the easy way in this life, because it's what you know, and it wouldn't be challenging. It's not that you shouldn't have wonderful things happening in that house, because you do. You've got Jupiter happening in that house. But as far as your life's purpose, it should not be taking up, the majority of your energy, because we're born to rule the stars, basically, not have their pull or natural sway rule us. So let's say you had a very crazy Mars, okay? And I'm not talking about you, I'm just talking about anyone in general. If you had a really, really bad temper and you came into this world with Mars sitting right there at your ascendant, and you were born angry, right? And that was your South Node, that would tell you right away that your North Node is that you have to go opposite. You are stronger than that Mars potential to make you a very, very angry person. And as we all are starting to figure out, fear and anger are the two things that really, really must be avoided if you want to progress and have any sort of a happy life, a balanced life, right? So I haven't even really started your reading yet. Should I move on?
Well, on the South Node, so like in my case, it's children, creativity, and some of the things that you named. These are things typically that were done in previous incarnation, and not something that we would be comfortable with. It would be easy for us because we're familiar with it, but it's not our focus to maximize our potential for this incarnation. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Because you chose something else. That was your goal, and it was all planned that you were to work with other people, right?
Yeah.
And so some people's comfort zone is to go back to what they knew, but that's not going to it's not going to make that schooner fly, is it?
Mm. Okay. All
All
right.
right. So it's a very interesting chart, and the reason I like to do these readings live with people, because every one of these lines and degrees and planets and houses can be interpreted easily 100 different ways, and the same lines could tell a different story at a different time in your life. But because this is a life picture right here, what I do is I go into my zone and it tells me what you need to hear right now.
Okay.
Right? This is just my theory on how I interpret. So it means that I'm going to be asking you some personal questions, and you don't have to answer them if you want. But if what I'm saying rings a bell, just tell
Okay.
me yes or no, and then we can figure out from there what it could mean, right?
Okay. All right.
So I'm going to go a little bit quicker here and pick up the pace. You came in with the ascendant of Virgo. Virgo energy is the sixth house. It's ruled by Mercury. It has to do with the parts of the body are the stomach, the intestines or whatever. Virgo energy, they're workers. They're workers. They're discerners. Um, they're brilliant, intelligent sign there, because it's the mental aspects of Mercury. They're very, very sharp and quick when it comes to thinking. Okay, so that rules your 12th house and also your ascendant. In that 12th house is a house of karma, okay, past lives, institutions, whatever. You've got Uranus and you have Pluto. Uranus is sudden change. Because it's ruled by Mercury, you are capable of those sudden changes with the mental energy. Uranus and Mercury work very, very well together because you can keep up with it. That's your boom right there. You see that 0 degrees in your 12th house? It looks like an antenna.
Yeah, I see right here.
Yeah,
What?
because it is another world antenna as well. So that it could represent technology, like new technology that's coming in, because it actually rules the 11th house originally, where your north node is. So there's going to be sudden change, and not all of it is good, because Pluto, which is sort of the sewer system of the astrology world, it's very necessary, but it's sort of, it's there to drag out the sledge or whatever. Pluto is not exactly conjunct with it. There's 10 degrees in between them. It's more important if there were 3 degrees in between them, then it would be considered conjunct. But because the two of them are within 10 degrees in the same house, I would say that energy of sudden change and some murky things are redlined with your 3rd house. And you came in with that as karma, because karma is the 12th house. So if you follow your Pluto and Uranus red lines down to your 3rd house, you're going to see that it covers, well, it says here practically all of those planets. But, I really am only concerned if they're within 3 degrees or the exact degree, because then it's like, you fried, right?
There looks like
Very important.
There looks like there's a lot of action going on in the 3rd house.
Absolutely, and that's what I was getting to.
Okay.
The 3rd house is brothers and sisters and your early years. So I see that you've got Venus there at 5 degrees. You have Mercury there at 13. You've got the Sun there at 16 and Mars at 18. So Venus is things that you love, what you love, what you value, beauty in this life. Mercury is your health or communication. It's the messenger of the senses. Your body is right there within 3 degrees, or the sun. The sun is your body. So, and then Mars beside that, okay? And they're very close, all of these, the Mercury, the Sun, and the Mars, and then the Venus there. So this tells me that you, in your younger years, or your brothers and sisters had some health issues. There was some illness there, and it happened rapidly because it's red-lined with Uranus or sudden change in Pluto. So it may actually have been stomach issues. Mars can be quite hot, like fevers, whatever, um, or just energy, much energy. Is Did I get something there?
Yeah, I mean, I would say there wasn't a substantial amount of physical illness. I come from, I mean, in the younger years, it was me and four other brothers, well, a brother and three sisters. But I think energetically, that would make sense.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it represents right there. Now, this is part of what you chose to come in with in your early life so that you could experience all of that. And did they all survive?
Yes.
Beautiful. Yeah, okay. So you must have learned something at a young age, and having patience and serving, because look, you've got the Virgo there in the 12th house that rules that sudden change in murkiness or whatever. As you know, many nurses um, are Virgos because their natural home is the 6th house, and that's to serve and to heal and to communicate or whatever. So it probably made you or gave you time to study things because you've got Sagittarius energy ruling your 3rd house, which is higher learning.
Mm,
Okay,
yes.
there's also, it also is sort of priests show up with Sagittarius energy. It's ruled by Jupiter. It's a sign that demands truth. Okay, it's like the archer is pointing that arrow, and you really, it's a fabulous chart that you have here. It's very interesting, and if you chose to talk about your early years, this thing would just unfold for both of us so
Well,
quickly.
I mean, the early years, I mean, like, so there was a, you know, five kids in the house. Um, they were, you know, we were very close in age. So things kind of came to a climax when I was 9 years old. My parents separated to go on to
Yeah.
get a.
Okay. Whoa, Todd.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I can get to that right there. Your 4th house has your moon and Saturn in it. Okay. Can you see that? Your 4th house.
Yes, I've got the arrow on it right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Now. Yeah. I'd love to talk about your brothers and sisters, but I wanted to talk about mom and dad first before you went into anything and told me anything. Now, what
Okay.
I see is your moon, which represents mother, and she is blue lined there with your 2 planets up in the 12th house that you came in that were so heavy that are the wind that is holding back your schooner there.
Mm,
The blue lines means that your mother was supportive through that big time. Yeah? Moon is dreams, water. If it wasn't your mother, then you had dreams that helped you through that. I see Saturn, which represents father in most charts, at 27 degrees. So they're at different ends of the same house at home. Do you see it?
yes, I see it. They're on the opposite
Okay.
ends of the. Yeah, I see that.
So there was a separation there. Um, your mother was probably way more supportive, but they're both ruled by Capricorn there, which is really bossy. It's the big boss. So it must have been a lot of rules, very restrictive, sort of, do as I
No.
say, not as I do type of thing.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. I think a lot of kids experience that, but there was not a lot of rules. But there was a
Not
lot of do as I say, not as I do. There was a lot of that.
right. Yeah. So that your whole home, which is the 4th house, that home energy, it shows mom and dad. And actually, now that you mention all of those kids in there, you've pretty much got them all lined up, don't you?
It looks that way.
So this right away tells me, Todd, that when you came in with your blueprint for life, every one of those people, you had something to work out with. And that's the case for most families, but when I'm just seeing it and feeling it so strongly now that this is something that you needed to follow through with on them. And I'll tell you why. Saturn is there at 27 degrees. Now there's only 30 degrees in a chart. So your Saturn in Capricorn is a very mature number, and you're wrapping this up with perhaps this group of people. Maybe you're ready to move on. You could have had many lives with the same sort of people in your life, in your family, things you have to get over, whatever, whether they're family or whatever, past life. Now you're wrapping it up this time by having harmony on some level with all of them, right? And then that 27 degrees Saturn, or big boss man that rules, careers and reputations way up at the top of the chart. This is what is really, really being aspected right now in everybody's chart, because it's the astrology of the day is Saturn is on its way out of Capricorn on everybody's chart. So this tells me that at this time in history, Todd, when Saturn is in a high degree in Capricorn in your fourth house, this time in history in your life is very, very important. And I'm convinced that you wrapped it up. You've got it together.
Yeah. If I look at this, and I'm going to use the cursor from the 12th house over to the 27 degrees, to that end of the boat. So and I'm just trying to kind of go back and give you some feedback. So the whole quick change, the murkiness, the working through with the siblings, the household, and what you just said, at this point in time, you've pretty much cleared it. The trajectory of balance between these relationships is occurring slowly but surely. I mean, it's all happening. So I would say that's all kind of occurred up to this point where it begins to get into the fifth house. As I can, as best I can kind of sum this up based on what little I know and what you're telling me. But yeah, that fits.
Okay, so if you don't even think about what I just said, don't think about the brothers and sisters or your parents or anything. Just in life right now, the fact that Capricorn is sitting at a high degree, Saturn is sitting at a high degree in Capricorn. It is in everybody's chart right now, because you look up the astrology of the day and you've got a lineup there that is causing every single situation that is happening to the world today right now. Because what you've got is that murkiness, as I called it, or it could be illness, or it could be going into the underground, it could be drugs, it could be coronavirus, right? Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter are all lined up in Capricorn now. So once Saturn moves out of Capricorn and goes into the Aquarius, the sign of Aquarius, at the end of this year, like the very end, next year, like we're talking early next year, Saturn is out of there. This energy right now, Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter in Capricorn, is causing everything in the world to be the way it is right now. Pluto is causing the riots, the illness. Saturn is the tester. It's the big wall that's going to restrict. Jupiter is big. It's expansive. It magnifies. But look, we have to do this to change, to shift into the Aquarian age, right?
Yes.
It's very, very close. So everybody, just do your best to hang in this year. If we're still alive with the pulse, we're still in the game.
Mhm.
And the higher road always is to serve in some way, and you are doing that. You're
Mhm.
doing that, Todd. It's beautiful. So
So
your
this
fifth
is,
house, yeah,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Going, okay, keep going. You're going to answer my question. Keep going.
yeah. Your south node is in the fifth house, right?
Right.
So that's what you did before. You probably had a whole bunch of kids, right?
Yes.
Because that is the house of children
6.
or whatever, right? Yeah. Now, uh, Jupiter right there is big and expansive. The Aquarius energy is rules that sign with your chart here in particular. Now, that energy is very bizarre. It's way out there. It loves humanity, but it doesn't necessarily like the people. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's sort of like you want to serve everybody, but it may not take too much for someone to trigger you, right? And that is the old energy that you decided you weren't going to follow, right?
But I wasn't going to follow.
You're not going to follow in
Yeah.
this life,
And
right?
that makes sense. That makes sense because yes, I want to serve as many as I can, but I don't want to talk to anybody.
Exactly. Exactly. And that is blue lined with Venus, okay? Your Jupiter is blue lined with Venus there. You've got them at the exact same degree. So when you want to talk to somebody or to everybody, it's only about the things that you really, really value and love. And
Mm.
that's when it's totally effective. So, yes, beautiful.
Mm.
Um, because it's what you love. Now, remember the third house. I didn't even mention this, did I? It's not just brothers and sisters. It is small communication. It's not like far. The ninth house is faraway travels. Third house is short trips. So, like even doing broadcasts is a short trip because we have thousands of miles between where you are and I am right now. But yet, boom, you can hit a button and we're talking. There is no distance. So
Mhm.
it's short blurbs of communication. That house is originally ruled by Mercury as well, which is communication and medicine. So, yeah. Um, then we go to um, your Neptune. Yeah, this is really interesting.
Now, where is that? The sixth house,
Your second house?
second house.
Yeah. Now you can see that it's blue lined with Pluto, which is strange.
That's strange. So this is the third house,
No, second house. You see that little
the
Neptune? It
second
looks
house.
like it looks
Yes,
like a pitchfork there at
at
12
12
degrees.
at 12 degrees,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Now this is where it gets a little bit weird because everybody else in astrology land would say Neptune is drugs or illusion. And it's sort of looked down, the energy of that planet is looked down upon. But I go with Edgar Casey's cosmology, which basically says it's one of the highest spiritual signs in a chart that you can have. So this tells me that when Pluto is blue lined with it, that it's part of your karma, right? And they're going to get along because it's sort of like the Neptune in your chart is sort of like the mandate from God,
Hmm.
right? If you had to have God show up in your chart, or it would be Neptune, and Neptune is sitting pretty with your challenges that you chose because it's the best thing for you, and you knew it at the time. The wonderful thing about it is that its original ruler of the second house is Taurus, and that's the house of finance, the things that you love, Venus, Taurus, but you've got Scorpio. So this tells me that here on the earth, the Taurus energy of the second house of things that you value, the finance, it's ruled by Scorpio, so you have a very a psychic streak on this earth.
A what?
A psychic streak.
Okay. A psychic streak? Okay.
Yes, so you probably have dreams that can come true. You've probably had some pretty freaky things happen in your life, and that is Neptune sitting there smiling on it and saying, yes, you're going to be communicating with the other side, because Scorpio energy is really rules the house of death and transformation. So a lot of people that have Scorpio, planets in Scorpio, tend to be mystics or into the occult or hidden. A lot of them can communicate with the other side. And Pluto is sitting here blue lined with it. And I told you how important Pluto is right now in history. So it's almost as if this is really an indicator that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, if this is true.
Yes.
That is a gift that was given to you.
It makes sense to me.
Also, your moon there is not only your mother, it's your dreams. And it's blue lined with Uranus and the Pluto energy. So you probably have dreams that come true. Yeah.
You mean like dreams, like I dream something?
At night, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to answer that, yes or no. I have serious deja vus. I call them super deja vus.
So you're awake. You're awake when that happens.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know how to answer that question, because I don't know. I can't recall having a dream and then I know it's happened 2 or 3 times, and then whatever I dreamt happens. But it's more, I'm more of I've had some really powerful deja vus at certain points in my life, and then over the last 2 or 3 years they've become much more frequent.
Okay, so yeah, you've noticed that is blue lined with Uranus or sudden change, so it'll come very, very quickly and go very, very quickly. These messages, whether you're daydreaming or night dreaming, will come and go in a flash. And be aware of them. Like, lots of people keep dream journals if you remember your dreams at all. Lots of times
I can say that. Yeah, I can say the daydreaming part. If it was daydreaming, if we put it in that category, yes, those things come true. I've had a history of that.
Oh, so you're just sort of in that state all of the time then?
I don't know, but I visualize. It's not really with the intention to manifest, but I just kind of like go through the, like watch the movie or make the movie of what I want, basically.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, that's always been something that's happened to me since I was young.
Well, that's beautiful, because you're utilizing it. You're not just going to wake up in the morning and go, that was a weird dream, I wonder what it meant, and then put it to bed. No, if it's going boom and hitting you straight between the eyes in the middle of your day, you're more likely to listen to it.
This is complicated stuff, man.
Oh, and every chart is different. And this is considered an easy chart. If I was going to do it for you, I would say normally I could go through this with somebody in a half an hour. And the most difficult charts, they got planets and squares and things all over the place. That takes about an hour, over an hour. And that's like making sure that they've recorded it. Because there's a lot of information that's,
So is there a reason, like if I look at the north node, this triangle here, to the south node, with the exception of these 2 little symbols right here, which are in the 6th house.
Yes. That's
everything,
the only one we haven't talked about yet.
Okay. Yeah, because everything seems to be contained or is contained on this half of the diagram.
Yes,
So
that's very astute of you to notice that, because that is a category of charts where a person's whole personality can be, you can see it right away. A lot of the energy is focused in a smaller area. Some people are all over the chart, all
yeah.
over.
Oh, they're all over.
Yeah.
Okay. And
So they've got planets in every other house, and you know, I think you came in with a prime directive to do something,
yeah.
and you're doing it. No wasted moves, just boom, 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 right?
Yes. Somebody asked about Chiron.
Yeah, that's the sixth house there at 2 degrees.
Oh, that is Chiron.
Yes, it's the little key there in the sixth
Oh, I
house.
see it right here. Yeah.
Yeah, now Pisces, it's Pisces energy there in the sixth house of health and communication or service. Um, Chiron is to me like if Jesus were to show up on your chart, he's the wounded healer.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what you have to heal in yourself before you can help other people with it in your life. So this tells me that it's at 2 degrees. It is new in your chart in that house at 2 degrees, and it's just sneaking in there. And 2 is a number of sort of like division. So it could have been a feeling of like abandonment issue in a sense. And I'll tell you why I say that, because 2 is abandonment, something taken apart. I think you had to heal something along that line in yourself so you could help other people with it. And
Mm.
Pisces energy is very sucky. It's, it's very, very sensitive. So I think maybe that you had to heal in yourself, if I'm correct in saying. Pisces leaks, it's tears, it's chronic issues that are hard to, really, really hard to heal, like sinuses, um, certain, anything in your body that leaks, basically, right?
Mm.
There's all kinds of parts of your body that can leak. You can look at it that way. Um, but Pisces, you know, it's a beautiful, beautiful energy to have as your house of service energy, because that tells me that in a general scheme here, you have the potential to be very, very supportive and kind and sensitive to other people's feelings, because you went through that yourself. Am I right?
Yeah, there's some I mean, there's, I don't know. I mean, we're always learning more, right? I mean, but yeah, even as a little kid, I was always aware of other people's, maybe too aware. Um, but the other thing that's interesting, Morgan's a Pisces.
Oh, in the sixth house. Ah,
Yeah.
that's another thing I wanted to mention. I didn't know if we had time or not, but a lot of times the people that are in your life will show up in your chart too, like your partners, whatever. And it's always nice to know. I would never have known that had you not told me. So thank you for that. And that's why it's such an honor to be trusted with doing someone's chart with them, because that really helps to do the interpretation. Yeah.
Mm.
So this tells me that Chiron, there's a lot of healing going on between the two of you.
Mm.
Right? And that is a beautiful thing to do in the house of service, because that's your house of service. All for everybody, the sixth house. And when you've got your partner in there doing the same thing, well, that is just gorgeous, isn't it?
Wow, that feels good.
Oh, it has to. It has to. There's the two of you. The Chiron is at 2 degrees, so maybe you had to heal the division, so now you've got two working as one.
Yeah.
In the yes, beautiful.
Yeah, that resonates.
It's great, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, very cool. So somebody asked, because I want to get a couple other questions in. Unless, is there more on here? Because let me just go back to this. So for the, let's see, the 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th houses, there's nothing. You're saying that there's a lot of people will have stuff all over the chart in all houses.
Right.
So what are the, I know there's no, it's not a comparison in that respect or anything, but like what happens when you have stuff all over in every house as opposed to something like this chart, which has 4 of the houses with nothing in it and a couple with very little in it. I mean, you know, you have such a concentration of activity in these 3 through 5. Can you just kind of
Okay.
talk to that for a
Yeah,
second?
sure. The first thing that comes to mind is that everybody, like I said, has a blueprint. When they come in, this is it. And it covers the whole life. So if something doesn't make sense to you right now, well, your life isn't over, is it?
Mm,
Anyway, um, if you come in and you want to accomplish this, and this, yeah, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to become a publisher. So give me Jupiter in the 9th house. Okay. But I'm going to have to go bankrupt, right? In order to learn the lesson from my past life. So give me something uh, dramatic in my 2nd house that's going to be squared with this, and this. So if you chose a lot of challenges or a lot of experience, and it really comes to the same thing, you're going to put planets in every single house that you can, and a lot of them are going to square. So you may get to a point in your life where if you're not following your North Node, you may not know what the hell is going on.
mm,
Everything just could be chaotic, and I'll look at the chart and I'll say, well, hey man, did you know that, like, in the grand scheme of things, everything is squaring with your your original birth chart right now, but nothing is permanent. All of this is temporary, and all of these planets do move in time, some of them quicker than others. And I don't plan my day, my week, my month by any astrology. I don't ever bring up the day's chart unless, Todd, I'm feeling it. Like if I'm just feeling not myself, if I'm irritated or every bone in my body is just aching, I'll go, something is funky today. Let's check it out. And I'll go, oh, yeah, of course, my Mars and my Venus are like in oppositions, and this, and my Mercury is well, there's my health, and boom, boom, boom. Then it makes you feel better because, hey, in a week, that is going to be moving to there, and I won't be feeling it,
right on.
right?
Very
So,
cool.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Did that answer your question?
yeah. Yeah. Somebody asked early on, my friend Don, where did astrology come from?
Where did anything come from? It's, to me, is the
But I
original
mean,
science.
yeah,
It's the original science. So if you look at it that way, it's always been here,
yeah,
right? Like, where did the planets come from?
right. Where
When
did
did
we come
we
from?
when did we start having consciousness on this
Yeah.
blue marble, right?
And what about, you made the comment earlier, which I found very intriguing. You made the comment that the stars aren't meant to rule us. And I believe you said we're meant to rule the stars. Is that what you
Yes.
said? And
Yes.
can you elaborate on that?
Excellent question. Because it reminded me to mention something that I really wanted to mention. And that's that all of these planets that you see here, okay? You're not just the sun sign. You are all of these planets. And they're playing a little game. They're lining up and they're moving around. And it's like billiards. It's like cosmic billiards if you think about it. And it doesn't matter whether you believe in it or not. It is there and it will affect you and everyone else. But the point is that the whole purpose for coming down to Earth is that it is the university of testing, is it not? It is dense, it's hard here, right? Until you come to the realization that we're all being tested in this place, and that whatever you think about is where you live. So if you have figured out this alchemy, that you have actually mastered all of these planets in other lives, the energy of them, and you come here for the testing of it, you go, well, I lived on Mars on my last incarnation, so, I have to learn how to control my temper in this life and not go to war with everyone and everything, and that could be your blueprint in your life. Now, boom, you come down here and you're going to be triggered, 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 triggered. How do you respond? Oh, I learned how to do all that. I'm learning Venus now, or I'm learning Jupiter now, where there's going to be harmony instead of conflict. So with time, with understanding, with every consecutive life, we're being tested here on our knowledge of having lived in all of these energies before, because here we're dumped in the melting pot where everyone came from somewhere different. Everyone has a different ideal of what's right and what's wrong, and everyone has free will. When we're out of here, that free will is gone. This is the only place we've got it. Not even the angels have it. So it's such a fascinating time to be alive in history right now, because we're coming into a new era. It's very, very exciting. And if you know your chart and you know where the downfalls are, and you go, I'm not going to fall into that trap, or I've paid my karma. Karma does not have to manifest. If you're aware of it in advance, it doesn't have to hit you physically. It doesn't.
A couple of more questions. One personal before we get out of here. One personal and one collective. So Morgan asked, what was going on in his chart from the end of May to the end of July that was funky? I don't know how these work. Now, this chart that we put up on the screen, this is more of it's not really chronological, is it? But you can go in and look at specific time periods, right?
Well, yes, and I have been looking at the day's chart throughout the year, of course, because I already covered that in talking about the energy that is happening in Capricorn right now. Now, if you were to pull up, a free chart anywhere and get your free birth chart out of it and type in today's date, look at Capricorn, okay? Look at the planets that are in it and what they're squared with. This lineup has probably never happened before. The last time Saturn was in Capricorn, I think, was the 1500s. And you throw in Pluto, a very, very, very slow-moving planet that sits there for like an era, practically, and Jupiter, and Saturn sits there for a long time, too. Wow. It's making it a time of testing. Saturn is the tester right now.
Yeah.
So if you had a lot of stuff going down in your life, you would just be like everybody else here on Earth, because we are being tested every single day. And if you want smooth sailing here, Mr. Boatman,
Who, me?
aim for the highest octave of everything.
Yeah, that sounds.
You can just look at a day and feel the magic in it, or think about all of the horrible things that are happening that you have no control over and live there.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to do that. Get into that magic place where you remove your ego, you can back up, you can look at everything from a distance without so much emotion. and just sort of learn to discern and go, well, nothing is permanent, whatever today, this moment, the here and now feels really good. Hold it. Hold that energy. You're looking at a flower, you're smelling it. Hold that for as long as you can. And then you start thinking about what you want in your life.
Yeah.
And you are holding open that portal that's going to get you there.
So, Clementine Silvera, sorry if I mispronounced it, who makes a lot of good comments, by the way. And if you want to ever come on the show, let me know. I might as well just kill two birds with one stone. But she made this comment. J.P. Morgan, who we all know played an asshole in this realm, but we are equal, no separated. J.P. Morgan famously said, millionaires don't follow astrology. Billionaires do. It's the oldest science. It's the master control system of the simulation. So the reason I asked you that question earlier, thank you for the comment. The reason I asked you for that question earlier about to restate and elaborate on the planets aren't meant to rule us, we're meant to rule the planets. I've had, I want to say for the last 3 years, 2 to 3 years, these things that come in, as we all do. This one involves the what I call the overlay of the cosmos. The positioning, the celestial positioning, planetary alignments, all that stuff. Serving us as a guide, as a guidepost. But at some point, I guess through these transmissions or whatever you want to call it, I was getting that at some point that we can kind of liberate ourselves from the control they have over us, and I spent a lot of time on my own time on walks and stuff doing that, and I just did it actually 2 nights ago because I looked up into what was nearly a full moon, and Saturn was on one side and Jupiter was on the other. And then I pulled out my sky map and Pluto was right behind the moon. And I thought, wow, that's a powerful triad.
This is what we're dealing with the whole year.
Yeah.
And it's been going on for quite a while. Now, Saturn is in retrograde. So it had actually moved into Aquarius, then started to back up. It just backed up again into Capricorn. And then it's going to go through all of that, pass all those planets again on its way out, and then at the end of December we can finally go woo, because you're going to be raked over the coals a couple times. Everyone is. Now, as far as using astrology,
just a couple times, and mine's already done.
Yeah, okay. Until the next
I'm kidding.
treatment, it's got to go back, buddy.
So Clementine,
yeah, you're talking about the control issues. Of course, they're going to use this to control people. They want wars.
Who's they?
Whoever wants to control, right?
Well, okay, yeah.
All right. So they have to set the stage to keep people fearful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that they don't know who they really are, they will not wake up to the fact of how much personal power every one of us was born with.
We're going to change that. We're changing.
Yes, we are.
We're going to kick that right in the ass.
Well, you take away their power by not falling into that trap, and if that's the only tool that they have is astrology, because we have lots of organic tools in order to overcome everything, right?
Right on.
If that's all they have, then we can understand it. Then we don't have to even think about this, because we've already known, hey, I did that in the past. It hurt. Not going to go there again, right?
I wanted to mention this too. Clementine put up another comment to which kind of supports what you're talking about earlier. Saturn has been in Capricorn since late 2017. It's more the Saturn Jupiter Pluto conjunction that's rare. It happened in the 1500s. That's when Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation occurred. So I thought that was interesting. But my last question for you, we're segueing into it. So there's what am I trying to say? There's a set of frequencies that are directed by the positioning of the celestial objects in the different houses and so on. The precession of the equinox or whatever, all that stuff, right? For the Earth. Now, you said what's happening in late December, early January. What does the balance of 2020 look like in general, and what does 2021 look like?
2020, it's going to look familiar. Whatever you have already survived this year, like I said, Saturn went forward, out, and now it's coming back, and then it's got to scrape right through them again to move back into Aquarius. So yeah, it's giving us a chance to relearn, retest. Okay? Yeah, it's a shaky year, right? If you choose to look at it that way. If you're doing okay, you got food to eat, you're not on life support, you know, you're doing what you love, you've got harmony in your household, beautiful. Okay? If you haven't been doing Saturn's work in your life, if you haven't been working on spirit in your life, and it's just, then, you know, it's going to be a lot harder on you. But everyone is going to feel this energy, and it has to be this way or there can be no change. And everybody has their own gifts to bring to the table. And I don't think that Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto have ever lined up in Capricorn before. This is something together in Capricorn. If it has, could have been Atlantis, okay? It could have been the same energy that took down Eden before the fall. So now we're ready to come out of that fall into this new era. And yeah, nothing changes without a bit of a shake-up, right?
Right on. So I'm going to ask you to, because a couple people asked, if you could put your link, I put it on the, because it's on some different Facebook pages, but I would put it on Todd Medina. Go back to the live on my page after the show and put your links in there so people can find you if they want a reading. But I'd also put it on YouTube, Soldier One Studios YouTube channel, which is it's live right now. There's 24 people in the house over there. Sometimes there's some different crowds there. You might want to put it in the links to those comments when the show's over so people can find you.
Oh yeah, there's lots of time for that, right?
Right on.
I'm retired. I just do this for fun.
Good. That's a good thing to do for fun. And I'm sure it's helpful for a lot of people. I appreciate it. I learned a lot today. I'm still, I'm very much a rookie. I don't understand a lot of this, but I feel the energy. Like when you went into to the sixth house and I saw the Pisces sign, and then you started talking about whatever you were talking about, I saw it all. The work, the serving the collective.
Yes.
You know, and we both served the collective, and it is like two. And so it all just kind of went, and then I started getting chills. So that was worth it. Just that alone, in itself, was awesome. But I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming in and sharing space with us, and honoring us with your presence and being open about what you're doing. And I think it's a good thing for people to be able to see this. And then if they have an interest in it, obviously they want to be able to connect to you. So thank you very much.
Well,
I appreciate it.
thank you for trusting me once again. That's, you know, like, I'm so honored to do anybody's chart because they do trust me with something, and that is to be honored because it is a story in itself. And if I can help anybody just, you know, sort of see that tree and not just the chaotic forest, that makes me happy. That is how I chose to serve right now in my life. Before it was nursing, you know, handicap. Before that it was film, the film industry. So wearing a lot of hats, but ultimately anyone that comes in with Mercury energy like you do as an ascendant, we're researchers, are we not? Always seeking, always trying to figure out the next piece of the puzzle. And it's really nice to do this today. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And thank you. And all blessings to you and yours. You take care. Okay? Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Bye-bye.